Hi, my name is Rod Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Rod Khleif, and I am thrilled you're here. And I'm super excited to interview the gentleman we're interviewing today because he's a friend. He's actually a student. He's in my Warrior program, and excited to talk about his success in the program and just the whole gig on how he got started and everything else. His name's Matthew Rose, and super excited to have you on the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Rod.
Absolutely. So take a minute and let's just, talk about how you got started in the business, maybe a little bit about your background, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So oddly enough, I've done a little bit of real estate outside of multifamily. Before I got in multifamily, I did some commercial, and I started at the beginning. I did actually building automation for Carrier. And then I transferred from that and I started doing maintenance at buildings. And then I, started to, do a little bit of commercial investing. And then I flipped into multifamily and I've just taken off from there.
So Carrier, the HVAC Carrier, is that
Yes.
what we're talking about? Okay. Yes. So okay. And you did installation work? I mean, you're analytical.
I did building automation programming for them.
Oh, cool. Okay. Okay. All right. And so I know that you're I think over 130 doors, and I want to talk about the fact that you just closed one, and
yes.
you with COVID and everything else. Talk about what you had to go through, and maybe give some pointers for people that are doing deals right now with all the craziness going on.
Sure, absolutely. So, it was a little funny because the deal, we sourced the deal, and it was right before COVID, and then COVID happened, and then basically we were closing right in the middle of it, and it kind of messed our numbers up a little bit. So we had to be creative. The owners didn't really want to budge, and we basically came back to them and said, "Hey, look, we project it might be this and this and this," and we ended up getting them to come down on their price a little bit, and we've done great since then. But I feel like there's just a little bit more research that you have to do. And, I go around and talk to the businesses that I can talk to and see what they're going to do. And I've actually found some interesting things out about certain businesses. Like, for instance, Best Buy, I found out, is now cutting their workforce, and they don't plan to bring them back. I talked to a manager, and he said new company policy is that they are going to be doing a lot of kind of like the Apple Store, where you go in and you set a time up if you want to have full service. And so they're cutting it. And he said that they're saying that they found that people like that. So I think we have to reassess some of our traditional businesses that we can rely on, and maybe go around and check on those places a little bit and make sure they're bringing people back. They've cut their workforce by 40%. And he said they don't plan on bringing these people back.
Wow. Well, I've been harping this. Robert and I disagree on all this. My partner's name's Robert, and we disagree on this, and he thinks things aren't going to be as bad. But I'm here to tell you, we're headed for some serious pain in this country, and of course, with crisis comes opportunity. It's not something to fear. It's something to be ready for. It's something to start raising money for and pre-framing your investors for, so that they're not fearful when the quote unquote blood is running in the streets. Like I always mess up Warren Buffett's quote. It's like, be greedy when people are fearful and be fearful when people are greedy. I think that's it. Anyway, something like that. But that's going to happen in the next 8 months to a year, I think, because I know there's going to be another stimulus package. We're recording this on July 22nd. Not sure when it'll go live, but there's another stimulus package coming. But after that, all bets are off, in my opinion, after the election and everything else. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. So was there anything besides getting a discount on your COVID property? Was there any other hurdles that you had to jump through? Any issues with inspections, things of that nature? Delays?
it did make it a little bit. It did make it a little bit harder for the inspection because not as many people wanted to come around during inspection. The residents obviously were not as thrilled to have us in their units, and we tried to be very cognizant of that and aware. And I will say that the owners were very hesitant to even basically acknowledge it. They kind of felt like it was a hoax. Basically, they were old, they were an older couple, and they kind of felt like it was a hoax. And I had a lot of back and forth with the broker, and basically, I kind of knew where the broker was going to go. And I think this is a good thing for people to do, especially during this time when you have a lot of people that are not they're not in touch with reality, and you kind of have to. Have your ducks lined up. So when I came back to him and wanted to talk about changing something with the price, I looked up all the positive articles I could find. So I knew he was going to point out this positive article and this positive article and this positive article. So before I ever talked to him, I had a rebuttal for every one of those. And it just came to the point where I just had to say, hey, look, I know your job is to do the best thing for your client. Do you want to leave them hanging out here when they could just drop this price a little bit and get this deal done, or do you want to roll the dice for them? So they ended up making it work for us.
No, I love it. Now I know that before we were recording, you talked about 3 steps that you take that you try to subscribe to so that you can be successful in any endeavor that you take. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. So my wife and I run a law firm, and this is, along with the other investing we've done in the law firm, this is the same process I use to get good at anything, to do well at anything. And step 1 is I research. I'm kind of maniacal when I'm interested in something. I mean, when I got interested in multifamily and started switching from, the other stuff to multifamily, I basically, my music in the car was replaced with listening to podcasts. My free time that I was doing other things was replaced with books. I even have some of those Bose sunglasses that have that you can hear the music.
Got mine right here, man. Here, baby. Yeah, Tippy bought these for me. I love these damn things. When I ride my bike, I can listen to podcasts as well. Yeah,
it's exactly what I do. If I'm out doing something else, if I'm outside walking around, I've got the Bose shades on and I'm listening to my podcast. So step number 1 is, take some of that free time or time that you can have and just buckle down and try to learn as much as you can that way. YouTube, podcasts, books. Step 2, find a mentor. I always say you should find somebody that knows whatever you're doing more than you know it. Somebody that you can, trust, somebody that you can go back to. Like for me, I joined up with you.
Right.
And it's nice to have somebody that knows more about it than you, and somebody that you can go back to and say, hey, I've got a question about this or that or the other. Along with step 2, I say build a team. I count that in the same step. So find other people, and in multifamily, your team is going to be a lot of people. It's going to be everybody from your attorneys to, potential partners, and find people that have opposite strengths of you for partners. And step 3 is execute. Go out, don't be afraid. Just do whatever it is that you're going to do. Fall back on your partners and ask them, the people that you have, ask them questions if you need to know things, and your mentors, and use these resources that you've built up. You've already built your knowledge base up. Now you build your team up and your safety net, if you want to call it that. And then you just go out and execute, without fear. Because once you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. You just do it.
Right. But there will be things that come up that give you discomfort because you may be doing them for the first time, but Absolutely. You push through in spite of those things. And I want to circle back to a couple of things that you said. Yeah, as far as mentors, I've had mentors my whole life. I have one right now in a different part of my life, and I've had them for years. I mean, from anywhere from self-actualization through Tony Robbins to, real estate mentors to, everything in between. And then the other thing I want to hammer home that you said is the importance of playing to your strengths, in that, don't try to build your weaknesses. I mean, yes, you can do that on the side if you have time, but you're going to get much further, much faster when you play to your strengths. And if you partner with someone that that complements your weaknesses, those are matches made in heaven. And I, like Robert and I complement each other really well. And you guys have heard me talk about it ad nauseum, how you'll get an analytical person with, more outgoing person. And those are really good matches. But even if you're both, there are things you're better at than others. And they're typically the things you love, because, they're going to be things you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And when you're doing that, then not only are you enjoying yourself, but you're gonna execute much more effectively and move forward. And then the last thing you said is execute. And it's all about massive action. You just got to do it, and not fear failure, fear regret, fear being in the same place a year from now that you are right now. That's what you want to fear. But so tell people, what are some roadblocks to look out for? You're fairly new at this journey. I mean, relatively speaking, right. And what are some roadblocks that you encountered?
One is, I hate to say it about myself, because once I say execute, and then there's been a few deals that I probably could have taken on, but just because I had a little bit of hesitancy to pull the trigger, probably could be in 1,000 doors by now. But I would say that's one. I would say two is, and this is where let me circle back for a second. Sure,
so what do you think caused that to happen? Is this analysis paralysis? Was it fear? Let's just be completely honest about it. Why do you think you didn't pull? Were they skinny deals? They could have been skinny deals. I mean, or do you think like you could have missed out on some opportunity? And if you missed out on some opportunity, drill down a little bit. Why do you think it happened? Because it'll help my listeners.
Yeah, I think I may have possibly missed out a little bit on some opportunity. I think maybe I don't want to. I'm not normally a pessimistic person. I'm pretty optimistic.
Oh yeah.
But I was probably being a little bit more conservative than I would normally be, which I would still tell people, to make sure don't be reckless, because everybody's going to tell you, oh, my deal is underwritten conservatively. But don't be reckless, but don't be so conservative that you lose out on a deal that you're over one little thing or something that's probably a hypothetical that's probably never going to happen.
Okay. And so besides that, if not taking action on a prospective deal, any other roadblocks come to mind? Any other things that kind of dropped in front of you, like, oh crap, now I've got to deal with that? Anything like, I mean, I know I'm throwing you off because I didn't prepare you for any of these questions.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I would say probably maybe just probably a little bit of lack of faith in my own ability at the time, or maybe just telling myself, oh well, yeah, I know this stuff, but it was just maybe a sense of, okay, well, can I really do this or that or the other, and now I know that I can, and I probably should have, but it is what it is. You learn, as you call them, seminars. You learn from mistakes, and that's just part of it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think is the number one reason most people, when people fail to succeed at multifamily, what do you think is the number one reason for that to happen?
To me, I would say probably they just don't put the effort in. I mean, I feel like
take action.
I feel like if you're taking action and you're putting the effort in and you're consistently trying, you may have a failure here or there, but your successes are far going to outweigh that, generally speaking. If you're conservative, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to far exceed. Like I'll give example, the last deal that we did, once we did the reanalysis, like right now we're sitting at about 20% cash on cash return. Wow. And we've not even raised a single rent. We've not done anything. It's just
fantastic.
It's just what we're doing.
Fantastic. Was that a joint venture deal or a syndication?
It's a JV. Yeah, it's a JV
deal. Okay, yeah. Fantastic. So did you put your own money in, or did you just bring in the money?
I put my own money in this.
You did as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. What did you have to sacrifice or give up to get where you are today?
In multifamily, you mean, I guess?
Yeah, multifamily. Yeah. Unless you think something else from other things would help.
I guess I would just say mostly for me, it's just time. It's time.
Right.
Right. But I just I shifted time from one thing to another thing. So
you've got a baby girl, right?
But I think it's gonna. The goal is obviously that it pays off over time. That becomes the inverse. You give up a lot of time. You give up a lot of time while you're getting going, and then once you start getting a bunch there, that's what I love about multifamily is the freedom, the time freedom that you can get out of it. I was already making good money in my current business, so it's not a matter of money. It's a matter of it's buying time.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, love it. Do you think there's a particular type of person that's best suited for this business?
I don't think there. I that's a complicated question, but I'll answer it as simple as I can. I would say that I don't think there's any particular type of person. I'd say so long as you are motivated enough to do this. I know people that are super analytical that do this. I know people like me that are people persons that are great at this. I don't think multifamily is limited to one type of person. I would say that if you are the type of person that can get passionate about it, I think that's what's more than anything going to drive it. If you're passionate about it and you like it, which why wouldn't you?
Right.
If you like it, then you're gonna succeed. If you put the time in and you like it and you are making a real genuine effort, I don't think you have to be any particular type of person.
Yeah. And I would add to that in that, if you're going to influence anyone, you need to have that passion. And to have that passion, you have to be personally inspired. And to be personally inspired, you have to like it. And so I would tell you that, and you guys have heard me say it before, if you don't love this business yet, associate pleasure with it. And one example I use is pretending you're hunting for buried treasure, which you are. And then associate pleasure with it so that you learn to like it or love it is better. Because if you can't learn to love it and love it, then for God's sakes, you should do something else for sure.
Absolutely.
Did you have any aha moments as you were learning and growing in this business? Did you, anything? I mean, again, I know I'm hitting you on left field with some of these questions.
Honestly, I would say, coming from doing commercial, it's a lot different from doing, commercial stuff. Mm-hmm. But I would say the aha for me more than anything was it's not as hard as I made it out in my head to be. Right. If that makes sense, it's like once you learn it and once you know it and you buckle down and do it and you can get the pieces in place, the other people to fill in your gaps, it's not nearly as difficult as I think I had made it out to be.
Sure.
Sure. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm so talented that I'm just the sole factor in that. I think that's just the case.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree completely. What do you think is the most challenging part of the business for you? And then I'm going to have you tell me what's the most favorite part of the business, because so I'd like to answer both questions for you.
The most challenging part is that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the most challenging part for me right now is just giving up some of my family time and making that extra effort. But I'm very family oriented.
Yeah.
But,
how old are you just have the daughter, right?
I have a daughter. She's 3. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
That's the thing for me. But
sure.
Because I'm running another business and doing this at the same time, so it takes a little extra time. That's sure. For me. That's the challenging part. The rest of it just kind of falls in place.
Love it. Okay. What words of wisdom would you share with someone that's where you were when you first came into our program? I mean, what aspiring wants to do this, know they want to do it, know their family deserves more. What words of wisdom would you share with them?
Yeah, I would tell them to just start with those steps that I mentioned. Start with those 3 steps and buckle down and don't be fearful. Don't be fearful. Just do it. And if you're doing things the right way, things will fall in place. Just do, put in the work, you've got to put in the work though. You can't fake work,
right.
But you put in the time and you put in the effort and you do things the right way and it's going to work out all right.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think comes first, the deal or the money?
I would say the smart way to do it is get the money first.
Right.
not the deal. I mean, once you have the money, then you open your options up. I mean, God knows I don't want to be sitting here and I've got a deal that somebody's like, I got to get this closed quick. And I'm like, well, I don't have all this money lined up. So for me, making those connections and, meeting people, getting your name out there, getting yourself out there and getting the money lined up. That's the most important thing to me.
Yeah, I agree. Now, can you be looking for deals while you're doing that? Sure.
Absolutely.
But you should definitely be working on getting the money lined up. So any funny stories from managing, maybe landlord tenant, maybe just funny stories from the business? Anything come to mind?
From not as much from multifamily. I'll tell you I can tell you a funny commercial in landlording with a commercial tenant, but it's just amusing. So once I had a tenant on the 52nd floor of a building that I was working at, and made a call, and he was an attorney. God help us, but he was an attorney. But they were very particular. Called us up and said that he had a major problem. And the major problem is building, imagine it's all glass, right? All glass, no windows that open. And he points out the window and there's a praying mantis on the window. And he has blinds, right? He has a praying mantis on the window. We're on the 52nd floor. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a problem for me. And what do you want me to do? And he's like, I want you to hey, you need to get rid of him. And so I just reach up and, I have a sense of humor. I grab the blind, I pull the blind and the blind drops down. And I said, he's gone. And he's like, no, I want him out of here. And I said, what do you want me to do? Climb over the side of the building and thump him off? And he was like, can you do that? I feel like I probably gave him a look, but I said no.
All right. Well, listen, brother, I appreciate you being on the show, buddy, and taking time away from your baby girl and business and all that. But it's been a real treat to have you here. Is there any question I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think you.
I'm excited to see where you're at a year from now, and then 2 years from now, and be a fly on the wall for this journey of yours. But anyway, Matthew, thank you, brother. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Rod. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year, we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step, and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411. That's mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411.